More specific, yeah.
Tell me about some of the history of cooperative wineries in Languedoc.
That's better. Straight after the phylloxera crisis, which lasted about 60 years, what was known as the biggest wine region in the world hardly produced any wine. It was the biggest crisis that the region known in its history. And trying to catch up, trying to make a living again, vast amounts of vineyards were replanted, trellising system was changed, pruning system was changed. That's when the Guyot system was introduced. And we went from producing nothing to producing too much. And also the varieties at the time, which were mostly Aramon, some big, juicy, thin-skinned variety, was overproducing and making wine with very, very low alcohol. At the time, very few people were actually making wine themselves to put on the market. Négociants were ruling the place. People would keep some wine for their home production, but the rest would be sold to the négoce. And almost everybody in villages were making wine. Everybody was owning vineyards, even vineyard workers, which is very interesting in the political history of winemaking. Not enough wine, then overproducing, wine lacking body, color, négociants cheating, mixing sugar from beetroot, importing very alcoholic red wines from southern Spain or from Morocco, Tunisia, northern Africa. The quality, the overall quality collapsed straight after around 1905 to 1910, so basically just before World War I. And the vignerons of the south actually fought against all this cheating and bad practices that the négociants were doing at the time, and they decided to go their own way and completely bypass, cheating négoce, and that's how the first cooperative was created in Marossan, just outside Béziers, in 1912, and the idea at the time was to not only bypass the négoce, but also to find new markets. And because the region was very much communist and socialist at the time, the logical thing to do through political solidarity was to find communist and socialist drinkers outside the region. And the best place to go was to go north at the time. That's where all the coal mines were, that's where most of the hard labor was at the time. And most of the wine made in cooperative was then sent to Lille and north of Paris and near the Belgian border. And that situation lasted to about 1970, and then the goals were different. It wasn't any longer a question of finding new markets, it was a question of lowering cost to be competitive with the bigger new estates. And that's, in my mind, where things started to go wrong, because the idea was to once again produce as much as you can, cheaply as you can, and sell as much bulk as you can, as opposed to a final product, sold in a bottle. And that period for me is about to finish. It went from 1970 to about 2002, 2005, and that was the end of it.
Grant is just about to walk in the door behind you, so.